Chad found a nice place to take a nap.
Yeah. I get maybe an eighth of a turn at a time.
Oh.
So we found the problem.
Yeah, why are you napping here?
It's the fuel line, which is right. Grab that fuel line.
Where's it at? Oh, it's out here on the grass.
So right here, actually goes this way, and this stupid clamp, the rubber wears out in it after holding it for so many years, and it wore a little groove in there, and it started spraying out all over the place. So we took one off that rolled over truck right there, behind those Subarus.
You see the hood just thrown on the grass.
Those are the very first Subarus, by the way, if you ever wondered. Anyway, and took the one off of that. It had a groove starting to wear in it, so we rubber taped the crud out of it with some electrical tape, put the clamp back on.
Just to give it a little cushion.
So hopefully we'll be good to go.
Yeah, hopefully.
So, as you can see, we've been pretty busy, but today it's kind of a rainy day. So we're good day to make a video. Got my cup of tea. Usually it's espresso in there, so I can't show you my what's it? Swan bird of paradise. But
His cappuccino art that he does for himself every morning. And I'm...
because I'm stupid like that. But my cup is like totally trashed. It's like broken and cracked and whatever else, but I love it.
It's old.
I don't know how old. It's not that old, but it's from Portugal, so and it's not too fancy, but I just love the fact that it's all cracked up and broken, and I've glued it 42 times. And
yeah. Anyway.
I'm being poisoned by super glue.
Anyway, we're going to have wings. So today's breakfast soapbox rant is spurred on by a few who have asked us, you know, what's our motive or why are we doing these videos?
And at first, that answer can best be seen through our viewers' eyes and reflected in the types of commenters we have. And of course, there's variations under each of these three categories that we've selected, but for expediency, we'll just talk about those three. So
so the first group is those who oppose us outright. They're usually active witnesses.
The second group being just the general public.
And the third group are those who need support or validation. Usually they're active, inactive, and disfellowship witnesses.
Right. So the first category, those who comment, call names, maybe even they mean well, but they just don't realize that they're acting like the hypocritical, misguided religious leaders of Jesus' day.
Those witnesses are actually proving our point about many witnesses, because before even knowing our story...
because we haven't even told our story yet.
Right, but these active Jehovah's Witnesses judge with all the judgmentalness Jesus spoke against.
Exactly. In comments, we've been called things like faithless.
Reminds me of a certain CO we know.
Yeah, right. We've been told that we've committed the unforgivable sin like Satan the devil. Or we're accused of hiding some serious wrong that we've done as the real reason why we're disfellowshipped.
But when confronted with biblical reasoning on our situation, they either recognize how wrong they were in their judgments, or they turn tail and run.
Right. When you pin them in a corner and tell them to go tell their elders about how they're commenting on these videos, they run and hide.
Yeah, because if they found out by the elders, they'll be in trouble and they would get disfellowshipped themselves.
It could be anyways. So they have to hide who they are, as the scripture says, out of fear, which just proves our point about the control that many elders will exert over a person's mind. One time I remember a person had just moved away in the congregation. I don't know, it'd probably been about a year or so. And we're standing around by the sound booth in the back there. And the person's name came up. Innocently, you know, well, how's so-and-so doing? And the elder that was in the group, he says, oh, he's disfellowshipped, so you can delete him from your social media now. I mean, how controlling can you get? Like, just saying he was disfellowshipped wasn't enough. Like, we all don't know what that means. I don't have the conscientious discernment to decide whether the person is bad association. You have to command me to delete him from my social media, which we didn't even have any at the time. Mm-hmm. So what's next? Do you need to look through my phone to see who I'm talking to? And I've literally seen that happen. An elder peek over somebody's shoulder for that purpose of seeing what they're doing.
You know, that elder did that to me. Did you know that?
No.
I was sitting in the audience, the auditorium or whatever, and I had my tablet open, and he was walking down the aisle or whatever, and he just happened to like lean in to like read what was on my tablet. And of course it was nothing bad, but I kind of like pulled my tablet closer to me, like, mind your own business. What are you doing? Mind your own business.
But the point is, as with the religious leaders and Pharisees in Jesus' day, the most glaring thing is the hypocrisy.
Yeah, so here the governing body says they get their information from Jesus.
And I don't think we need to go into the Brother Loesch broadcast video clip of him saying that the governing body gets their information from Jesus in some miraculous way that the average Jehovah's Witness doesn't have access to, even though the literature contradicts itself on this point. I'm going to go into a little soapbox rant on this. Let's scroll down here. This is from the 91 Watchtower 315. And it says, professing to have the heavenly calling does not bring a person special revelations. God has a channel of communication. They don't quote it, I do. A channel of communication through which he provides spiritual food for his earthly organization. So nobody should think that being an anointed Christian gives him wisdom superior to that of the great crowd with the earthly hope. Spirit anointing is not indicated by proficiency in witnessing, answering scriptural questions, or giving Bible talks. For Christians with the earthly hope also do very well in these respects. Like anointed ones, they too are living exemplary Christian lives. So there it says, professing to have the heavenly calling does not bring a person special revelations. God has a channel of communication. Yet Brother Loesch said that the channel goes through the governing body, and the governing body can only be anointed. So that means being anointed gets you into having the special channel from God to where you can communicate this, get these special revelations. This is hypocrisy in itself. It just makes no sense. So nobody should think that being anointed Christian gives him wisdom superior to that of the great crowd. So then how is it that they're selected from the anointed to be of the governing body? And how is it that they get special knowledge if the anointed don't have any special knowledge over anybody? The whole thing is hypocritical. The whole thing is hypocritical. You know, why don't they just say, we're just people and we're doing the best we can on our own using God's Spirit? That would be humble and reasonable. But no, they want to make it sound like some sort of mystical spiritual guidance that they have, and it's just not the case.
Channeling. So if as an active witness you don't believe that they get their information from God in a miraculous way, well, then you're in the exact same place we are, and we'll save you a seat right next to us in the fiery pit of the three Hebrews.
Yeah, and there's got to be at least 5 or 6 places at this table that we can fill up here. But if you do believe that the governing body is your channel, synonym mediator, or spirit medium, see Deuteronomy, and that they get their information from Jesus in a miraculous way, then when the governing body says that you should not go on apostate websites and watch their videos and comment on them, and you disobey them, then by your own beliefs, you're disobeying Jesus. This is hypocrisy at its most blatant. And Jesus warned us about this hypocrisy. In Matthew 16:6, Tiffany, you want to get that open and read that for us?
It says, Jesus said to them, keep your eyes open and watch out for the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees.
So if we continue in the reading there, the apostles or those following Jesus think that he's talking about bread. So he makes it clear in verses 11 and 12.
How is it you do not discern that I did not talk to you about loaves, but watch out for the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees? Then they grasped that he said to watch out not for the leaven of the loaves, but for the teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees.
Yeah, and if we continue on to Luke 12 and verse 1, Jesus says specifically what that leaven is.
In the meantime, when the crowd had gathered together in so many thousands, that they were stepping upon one another, he started out by saying first to his disciples, "Watch out for the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy."
So that hypocrisy was that leaven. So we've all heard the saying, "I'll give you enough rope and you'll hang yourself with it." Well, their hypocrisy is basically hanging themselves.
Or as Jesus said in Matthew 12:37, "Your words will condemn you or prove you righteous."
Right. So it's that internal hypocrisy that hangs an individual. And that's what Jesus said to keep on the watch for. Now, we understand, if you haven't experienced what we have and that many others have experienced in the congregation.
You know, it kind of reminds me of that Saturday Night Live skit. There's a few of them about an alien abduction. We'll try to link one in the description.
Know that it's not exactly pure.
Yeah.
It's a little edgy.
It's Saturday Night Live. But anyway, in the skit, 2 out of the 3 people relate blissful, utopic experiences of seeing God and being coddled in this comforting, glowing light.
Meanwhile, the third one's saying, "What the heck are you guys on? This has been one of the most horrific experiences of my life."
Yeah, and if you're just a follower of men, or you can turn a blind eye to injustice, or you don't care about truth or abuse, really, it's pretty understandable how someone can navigate being a witness and never experience any of these problems. So we understand if you've never seen the injustice,
or been a victim of the psychological abuse.
Yeah, or seen the darkness of Satan that can enter into an elder body.
And the branch ends up supporting because at its core, it's just another human system that Satan's able to manipulate.
Yeah.
It isn't run by Jehovah's Spirit, as they claim, in some miraculous way. This is simply a combination of feudal authority and spiritual clientelism. In other words, as long as the elders pay lip service to doing whatever the branch says, never mind the fact that they don't actually do what the branch says, then the branch will support the elders in ruling in their own little kingdom. Mm-hmm. So the whole system of feudal spiritual clientelism is against scriptures and what Jesus taught how things should be in the congregation.
Yeah, but if you haven't experienced the dark underbelly, we understand, but don't be so quick to judge those who have experienced it.
Lest the Christ judge you, the same way he judged the religious leaders of God's organization in Jesus' day.
So if you're among the few of the first category that oppose what we're doing outright, you might want to look at your own hypocrisy. So the second group is the general public.
Now, they want to learn something about witnesses. They may have family or friends that are witnesses.
Yeah, or they may be those who witnesses have called on, or they may be studying with witnesses.
Or perhaps they're just curious about this group of people who seem nice at face value, but on the other hand, have been called a cult by others. But whatever the case, they just want to learn about witnesses from an insider. Because suspiciously, active witnesses never openly talk about anything bad that's going on. Mm-hmm. And the unrealistic utopia that they may paint doesn't exactly match other reports or what other people may say about them.
Truth be told, the reality is, if an active witness speaks against one of the organization's policies, or even a single elder's injustice, it could easily be twisted into a direct apostasy against the whole organization.
Yeah, it's like this severe insecurity complex they have. It'd be like my wife walking up to me and saying, "I know you've been kind of busy, but you're sort of letting yourself go. You need a haircut." And then I get all bent out of shape and arrogantly say, "Oh, why don't you let Jehovah handle it? So you don't like what Jehovah's provided for you. That's it. I'm giving you a silent treatment because obviously you want a divorce. That's it. I'm kicking you out."
Jeez. All I said is that you need a little attitude adjustment and a haircut. And you do. You're looking like a ragamuffin. And now it appears you need a major attitude adjustment.
But that's what this organization acts like, some hypersensitive, insecure lord.
Yeah.
But think about it. No one in North Korea is going to say anything negative about what goes on in North Korea or its leadership. But just because they say only positive things, does that mean that they're living in a utopian dynasty? So in reality, the only way to know the truth about what goes on inside of North Korea is to speak to those who have escaped from North Korea or been kicked out.
Admittedly, the difficult thing is that some escapees will be so hurt or abused that they will swing to the other end of the spectrum, to sensationalism. And they have nothing good to say about the country, or the culture, or the beliefs, or regime. So a listener needs to filter that out, or find an escapee who is able to remain balanced.
And so it is with witnesses. Some swing to the other end of the pendulum and see little good within the organization. Some go as far as to no longer appreciate many biblical truths, perhaps even denying the value of the Bible, or even the Christ, as the Scripture says.
Which is why we have freedom of speech in what we say with the Scriptures, because we still have faith in them, and we use them as a guide in our life.
So when we speak of the Scriptures, it's without hypocrisy.
We can talk more about that another time, but back to the point. You've heard the saying, making a mountain out of a molehill. Well, an active witness can't openly tell you the truth. They could be disfellowshipped, executed for saying anything negative. So if an outsider is going to get an objective opinion, it has to come from someone who's been in but is now out.
And we feel we offer a unique perspective in this because our faith was never built on the sand, so to speak, of men or an organization. The foundation of our faith was dug down past the sand, so to speak, to the rock of the Christ. So now we're able to speak to those who have went through that same type of a storm and help others repair the damage that they've experienced to their spiritual house, just as we're having to repair ours.
So not only is it therapeutic as we repair our building of faith, but we know we are assisting other people.
And of course, there's varying degrees of damage, from superficial repairs or complete decimation. And that just depends on the house itself, what its construction materials were, and where it was at in the storm. But getting the courage to rebuild after the storm is one of the major obstacles in disaster relief. Spiritual encouragement must happen first. Then the actual physical building can take place.
So that brings us to our third category of viewers.
So category number 3, those who need support.
This third category represents the largest section of our viewers.
These may be active witnesses who have seen some kind of authoritarian abuse or injustice.
Or some large hypocrisy.
Or just disgusted by the politics.
In any case, they're just trying to make sense of it.
Or they may be those who have been recent victims of those things themselves, even being disfellowshipped and still struggling with some aspect that they've been through in varying degrees.
Whatever the case is, they need support and some validation that what they are seeing or experiencing isn't right.
And that validation from the Scriptures, by those who truly believe in the Scriptures, can help someone make repairs and adjustments to their spiritual house as they rebuild.
One inactive witness emailed us and said, after watching your videos, I picked up my Bible for the first time in 4 years. That really warms our heart.
It does. Another brother's wife has totally lost faith in God because of the injustices that they faced. And he just needs encouragement and validation that what's going on isn't right.
Some witnesses walked up to us recently and said, we don't even care if you're disfellowshipped. They gave us a hug and said, keep doing your videos. You're helping a lot of people.
In fact, we have many active witnesses in our area who know that what we went through is a massive injustice. And they still talk to us. And the more that they hear they shouldn't talk to apostates and know our situation, the more it drives them to talk to us and associate with us because they can see what a mind control power trip it is.
And many active witnesses tell us their stories of abuse, political injustice, or the hurt caused by the false mechanical love. The Watchtower and Hierarchy wants to say that these cases are rare. If that's true, why are there so many scattered sheep? Where is the love of Jesus that searches for such ones?
Oh, well, we organize shepherding calls and have a brochure for you. Return to Jehovah. And we read there in paragraph 7, section 4, subtitle 2, under the category of these people have experienced that many elders are just nothing more than robotic KGB agents, following organizational checks and boxes, and that they rarely care outside the convents of the Kingdom Hall walls or organizational protocol. And even when shepherding calls are actually done, they're a mechanically fulfilled bad joke. And people are more afraid of the covert interrogation that lurks beneath, which throws any potential for real love right out the window. If you want to show up to my house and encourage me, leave the mechanical literature and pompous religious attire of the suit and tie at home and learn what it means to be a real friend. What? It is breakfast soapbox.
Okay. So the questions have been asked from different people.
An active witness. Why don't you just be quiet and go away?
Those who support us but are curious. What's your goal or objective in these videos?
Or even those who have been disfellowshipped but recognize some truths we learned. How could anyone who loves truth publicly tear down the organization that Jehovah has built? Isn't that Jehovah's tearing down to do?
Our summarized answer is Jesus was not silent. He plainly identified his betrayer.
And openly spoke against the hypocrisy, injustice, abuse, and politics of Jehovah's organization.
One study we had said, "Why did you knock on my door?" And I opened the Bible and I read Acts 20 verse 35, which says that there is more happiness in giving than receiving. And so I just simply said to give a gift of sharing what I've learned from the Bible. And so it is with this.
Now, there's a place for silence and confidentiality, we get that. But after all efforts to restore peace are made, Jesus knew that the time to stay silent was over, even if they were his brothers. And for us, we're talking about over 2 years of trying to work it out with these brothers, and 20 hours of judicial committee meetings and appeals meetings, and on top of that, a 30-page letter to the branch. So the branch supported these elders' abuse. Silence is the darkness which the moldy fungus of abuse flourishes. So when we let our light shine from the tabletop and not hide it under a measuring basket, it exposes that moldy abuse and hinders the growth of that abuse.
So thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified immediately when we post a video. Share the video and leave us a nice comment.
The clutch is slipping a little bit, just gotten fuel. But for the last 3 days, it's not leaking anymore, but I think just all that diesel fuel slipping on it, or dripping on it, makes it slip. What do you think, Dolly?
I don't know what you think.
Well, we'll find out how it holds up. We gotta go get some Model Ts today, so.
We are here, picking up our cars that we're buying today. Chad's getting his shoes on. He's driving with socks. So I better get out and flip this thing around so you can see what we're getting. So excited. Here's the first one.
A week ago when I put the pontoon, my other pontoon behind it. Yep. So it would be out front here.
Here's the first car.
A little bit of gas. Yeah. So I brought some gas up here to put in there so you guys can drive it. Yeah, great.
And what year is this again?
This is 25
25.
And 27.
Okay.
Titles.
Okay. This is the 27 pickup. And it's got a this thing right here. I'm holding a dog and this, but it's got a crank, and then the thing cranks up. So that way it's like a dump bed. But they both run and drive. Excited. Excited. It's so cute. We're talking food over there.
It says fuel leaks down from here from the bowl, which is not a big deal.
Yeah, you see that ball there?
Yep.
I do.
Yep. It's probably the spring in there gets a little weak sometimes.
And then
Okay.
here's the crank for this.
Okay. Same as the other one.
Are you gonna start this up then, or?
Okay. This way, and see if it don't start right away, and then you pull your brake back. This one, the brake pedal will come off once in a while, or the handle, you know?
Yep.
There, oh, I see. Oh, you gotta wiggle it. That's what the quirk is on it. There, dog, try her again.
try to back up a little bit so that way you can see him drive on the trailer. Got this little buggy already strapped down. So just in case we didn't say, this is a 25 and the green one, the TT, is a 27. They both started right up too, perfect. It's just that it's a totally different learning experience driving those, because there's no gas pedal. Everything is run by the steering wheel.
So we're coming up to the malt shop. See if I've got somewhere to pull in here.
I wonder if you got to pull around the corner maybe.
How do I get in there before?
You don't know.
Because I know I parked right there.
Well, you can't pull there now. We passed the sidewalk. They build cars here and collect them and sell them, obviously, because they build them.
I guess they come in front.
We've been here several times, but they have a little shop inside. It's super cute. Make that?
I should.
Ooh, that was close to that truck. You're good. Sorry, I was watching behind me. The old sign's cool. You gonna be able to whip out of there?
I don't know, I can back up if I got to. I can do this without getting run over by a car. What'd you say?
This is good.
Are you eating my ice cream?
Yeah.
Disappear for 2 seconds.
You want some of mine?
Yes, I'll have plenty of that.
I got huckleberry.
Huckleberry.
Huckleberry. It's called Rich and Famous. It has like brownie bites in it. What'd you get?
Caramel stuff.
Oh, sorry, guys.
Oops. Well, they kind of got a cool garage over here. Let's see what they got for trucks. Cab over. School bus. Ford school bus too. 46 Ford. Chevy, excuse me. That looks like a 48 Ford, perhaps. Oh no, it's an International. Yep. There's a 38 Ford over there. Another 46 Chevy. Still 38 Ford. Another 46 Chevy. I don't know my Dodgers very well. That's a 39, I think, Chevy. Always fun to come here, see what they got. So we're on our way to pick up another Model T. When it rains, it pours.
This is kind of a last minute deal. Like he found it today and we're gonna go in and get it today. This is a pretty barn. There it is. Hi. Cool.
That's a great picture right there.
It is.
Yeah, you can open that.
Selling any of the other goodies here?
Oh, I don't know.
What?
Are you selling the other stuff?
No, that convertible ain't gonna get sold in that.
I think he was looking at the bikes.
Oh, well, maybe them, yeah, but the 64. That was my dad's. My grandpa bought him a brand new convertible when he graduated high school, and all me, my brother, and my sister all got brought home from the hospital in that thing we were born.
Oh,
so
cool.
It's gonna get fixed. It just takes time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's only got like 50,000 miles.
That's
sentimental.
Yep, absolutely.
all. It seems like all older cars. That's what they're. It's all sentimental.
Yeah.
Those bikes are cool. That is really cool.
Yeah, and this is a 25. If I pulled it, you put like 27 here. And I didn't drive it in here, but I drove it about 5 years ago. It runs good. Turn on it.
Is it got a starter?
It's got a starter. It's got a starter. You're kidding. No. I don't know if you want to take it right off.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Yep, looks like a T.
Yeah.
Every year, once I start, we've got a couple of these. I have to relearn how to drive them again.
Well, all I remember, my father-in-law's one of the kind of guy I'm into. Is the right leg is forward and your left foot is reversed. Yeah, sure. It was. It's like, that's how you slow down. I was like, oh. And man, it's fun to drive. I know that, but it was a guy's parade truck when I bought it.
Yep. Is that hoist on it or?
No, it's just.
That top is neat. It's got an original.
Yeah, they did. Back then in the 20s?
Yeah, they were hand
Top.
cranked.
Oh, okay. Because usually you drove an elevator and had that hoist, you know, that would lift you up. You lift the whole truck up.
Yeah, it's right here, and it's all gear.
Oh, I never knew that. Oh, God.
It's kind of rare, actually, but we've got
That would
two
be
of them.
really rare.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that. You know, I wonder.
I just really think this is awesome.
What would I do with
We're
that?
in the shop until.
This is a TT truck, just like the green one.
No.
Put Tiffany to work while I go play with toys. Better get it steered straight first. So I got a couple of these things. Pedal car and a little scooter, got him to throw those in with the deal. We'll just throw those in the back. Gotta set you down. Still going straight. Kinda. Just up middle of the wheels. Got a couple other cool trucks out here. That was a pretty nice 50s Ford. I think he was a 55 or 6. But he didn't want to sell that one. Same with the Galaxy. Keep going. Let's have some fun. Crank it a little bit more. A little more. Keep going. That's good. So it's a pretty good looking little truck.
Is that enough?
Yep.
Okay.
Looks like if we get
Can you get the strap?
blades, yep. Blades are on my side.